What's going on, guys? So by now you probably know that Toro provided me this really sweet Z-Master 2000 HDX zero-turn riding lawnmower for review and evaluation on my channel. Well, this isn't all they provided. They also provided me with all these really cool attachment brackets for a few different accessories. What you see up here is to be able to attach a weed eater to the side. What you see right here is to be able to attach a bucket, like a 5-gallon bucket, to the side. And what you see right here is a universal mount. Now, many of the parts look kind of interchangeable, like that and that, that and that. Some of these brackets and some of them over here. This one has some unique parts to it because the weed eater is going to ride up on the side here. But I'm not going to lie, this looks pretty complicated. I'm going to see if I can tackle installing some of these myself. And we'll see how it looks whenever we come back. So I'm going to first try to put the bucket mount on. This is going to be really good because this is what I'm going to use to put my gopher equipment in for catching gophers. So the bucket is super important, and it's going to give me the ability to kind of use the Toro as a bit of a UTV on the property. It already comes with the hitch, which is super cool, so I can tow my little trailer around. But it'd be great just to take a few of those supplies I carry around, just drop them in a bucket and drive around on the yard with this. This is going to be interesting. I got to see what universal means, because that, of course, could mean different things in terms of the type of accessories I can put on it. But the weed eater is also going to be a really good attachment. Being able to carry your weed eater around with you so you can trim around trees and things like that as you approach them saves a lot of time. So we're going to get all this stuff installed and see how it goes. Okay, so the bucket attaches right here. Got to take these out. And it attaches down here, and then it puts a little bracket right here so the bucket can kind of sit in this area. The weed eater, on the other hand, is going to attach on this side, and it's going to kind of run right along your right side to some of the brackets that are there. And then the universal attachment is going to go back here. So they give you all these little mounting holes. Think of it kind of like a zero-turn with a molly vest built on it. But yeah, it gives you all sorts of attachment locations to be able to put stuff if you are, possibly needing them out there whenever you're running the mower. So that's really cool. We're going to go ahead and mount this thing up and see how it works with a 5-gallon bucket, because the steps look intimidating, but once you start knocking them out one at a time, I don't think it's going to be that bad. We're going to get as many of them installed as possible, and when we're done, we'll come back, kind of do an overview of them and demonstrate how they're supposed to work. So wish me luck. Okay, so the first bracket, which is this red bracket right here, kind of blends in. This whole assembly right here actually goes behind these two Torx bolts, and then you have two tapping screws that go in right here that you secure directly into the frame. This is kind of interesting. I like the fact that they have all these accessories and places to mount them, but I almost would have preferred, a mount that's kind of already here, that you simply buy the attachment, it slides into place and locks, maybe has a set screw or something to hold it, and then you simply put your bucket on. But when you buy this setup, it's really cool to have it, because I don't know of really many other mowers that offer this type of accessory kits. I wouldn't necessarily think that everyone would want to do it themselves, simply because you're tapping into the frame with the screws that are included, and then you're removing these two Torx screws, pulling them out, putting the bracket in place, reattaching it. It's not a lot, but it's certainly not just intuitively easy. You have to definitely read the directions and see where things go in order for it to work correctly. Okay, and the next step is to attach this little angle iron bracket right here off of the bracket that we installed earlier. So you just feed the two bolts through, tighten them with the lock nuts, and that's just about it. There's no torque specifications on the directions that I found, so if there is, it's probably earlier in the instructions, but yeah, I'm just tightening them down so they're a little beyond snug. Okay, so I've assembled the bucket holder itself, which is this interesting contraption, and this is eventually going to attach right here to the other brackets that I put in place. I'm going to have to put a bracket up here as well to connect to the top portion, and then that little angle iron bracket I installed down here will connect to this bottom portion, and it will essentially hold the bucket right here directly in front of the rear left tire. So it's actually a really convenient spot to have it, because it's easily accessible whenever you are trying to grab something from it. Very cool. So we're going to go ahead and continue this on and hopefully be done with this project pretty soon. Okay, so I'm still in the process of mounting the bucket holder, which is right over here, under here. Now this is kind of interesting to me, and this kind of echoes the comment I made earlier. There are two bolts here, right here. These are Torx, and I've already used them to mount the bracket below here. But in the instructions, it shows that there should be two holes right here. Unfortunately, there are no holes right there. However, if you press down on this decal, you can feel the holes behind the decal. So you have to drill through here, or at least puncture these little divots so you can run the bolts through it. I would have assumed probably, you know, it would have been nice just to have those holes already there, again, just to be able to attach everything. And in my opinion, just having that bracket there, you know, from the factory probably would have been a nice little upgrade. And I honestly, you know, if it had been on another mower, or if I had purchased this mower, I probably would have just paid the extra $100 to have the bracket already installed there. So whenever it comes time to install the bucket holder, it's all already in place, and I simply bolt it right on, and there's no, you know, there's no puncturing anything or mounting brackets or any of that. It's going to be super cool once I get it completely installed, but these are just some things I'm noting as I go to install the bucket attachment to the side. Okay, so I've punctured the decal, and I have the two bolts kind of poking through where they should go. And now it all kind of makes sense, because this is going to attach to the lower bracket, and the backside of this is going to attach to those two bolts right there. So I'll have all of this in place very soon. I just didn't really like the feeling of puncturing the decal right here, because it didn't puncture through clean. I tried to use a drill so it would kind of make a hole instead of a knife, because a knife would have just tore it. But again, just put the holes there. You know, they can probably space the font up slightly and just have the holes readily there. Maybe even put the bolts in place already, so all you have to do is loosen a washer. So all you have to do is loosen a nut, put the part in place, and retighten it. But we're gonna go ahead and get the bucket mount on here, get it secured to both brackets, and see how it looks. Okay, so I'm tightening the bracket now against the side. I got one other bolt on the other side. I'm not going to tighten them too much until I get this bracket right here in place, otherwise it might be a bit difficult, but just have that side, the other side, that bottom one, and we should be done with this bracket. Certainly looks nice, looks very functional. Just would have been nice if all of this stuff was already here and all you had to do was attach this to it. I think that would have made the steps far easier, and it probably would be a higher conversion rate in terms of them selling this, because the easier it is for you to install yourself, the more likely you're going to go out and buy it and install it yourself. Okay, so almost done here. Simply have to put one more carriage bolt in and one more nut on it to secure this in place. Okay, so I'm going to give some feedback here to the folks over at Toro. So the design of this is great. What it's designed to do works really well. I already fit the Lowe's bucket I have on it. Holds it in place great. It's perfect location. Can't complain about that. The engineering of how this attaches to the side of the mower is remarkable. I mean, really, they essentially took a mower that was complete. They put a bunch of engineers in a room, obviously. This is what my theory is. And they said, make this fit. And they came up with a really creative way of making everything fit, using multiple brackets and tapping bolts and all sorts of different things to get this thing to work. And once you get it on here, everything's great. But the execution of it is the problem. It's very difficult to get to the spots that you need to get get everything tightened in place. And the instructions are backwards in a couple of areas. So for instance, the L bracket, which is, I'll find it on here right there. You can see the portion attaching to the bracket on the mower is backwards for a left side installation. And because this is a 2021 or newer mower, I can't put this on the right side. So I have to reverse this bracket. Otherwise, this assembly right here where the bucket holds would be at this really steep angle pointing backwards, and I don't want that, of course. And not only that, but the carriage bolt that actually attaches it to the lower bracket won't fit in place. So I had to remove that bracket, flip it around, put it back in place, and now everything is symmetrical. Everything looks the way it should. So that's the last thing I need to do to get this in place. Then I can throw the bucket on it and demonstrate how this thing works, because it is pretty cool. Okay, we are completely done on the left side with the bucket attachment. It's secured well. It's cleared by about 1.5 inches from the tire. Looks good. And the bucket is really secure. It's got this little hook here, and you know, there's probably something that goes right here, and this holds the top of it in place, and then this secures the bottom of it. But you have a little screw adjustment right here, which you can slide this up and down and over the edge of your bucket. It extends right to the edge of the deck, so it doesn't extend too far out, which is nice. It gives you the ability to carry some stuff with you. Again, it looks really good, and you know, it's just such a great accessory to have if you want to use your mower for a few more things than you might normally think. But it's a bit of a pain to install. I'm going to be honest with you. I think they could have executed on this a bit better, made it a little easier, more user-friendly to install. Aside from that, it's going to be really nice having the mower equipped with this bucket on the side so I can put things in it. Okay, so we've lost all light out here, and my father was tackling the weed eater mount side, and I was tackling the bucket side. We finished at the same time, roughly. He finished about 2 minutes after I did, but yeah, it secures right here on this little rail on the side, and then the front secures to a bracket over the front kind of caster support over here, and it just kind of pins in place. This is pretty cool, and we have it positioned so the fuel tank is pointing up, which I think is probably pretty important. But yeah, so now you have the ability to go around the yard with your weed eater, with a bucket. If you have ant granules, if you have a sprayer, you can attach it up here, or you can at least drop it in the bucket there, and you can go around and do what you need to do without having to say, oh man, I see that, I need to come back with a weed eater, I need to come back with a mole trap or a gopher trap and put it in place. Very cool. The execution of all of this could vastly be improved. Just how the brackets have to be made to attach to everything. Again, it kind of feels like they built the whole tractor, they put everything in place, it looked cool. The design folks said, you know what, we're ready to go. Then they sent it over to the engineers and said, how do we attach brackets to this thing? And the brackets are very creative, so I got to give a huge shout out and thumbs up to the folks who designed them, because that definitely took some CAD work and some engineering. However, I feel like they could have done it a little differently. They could have made it so things snap in place, things, you know, slide into a groove, and you simply tighten a set screw or something like that. Overall though, very cool. I have to honestly say it's great to have all these accessories that you can attach to your mower, and I think they nailed it in terms of design. I think that's really where everything kind of came together. And ergonomics, just the ability for you to actually make your mower more than just a mower, make it a useful tool. For me, I have the ability to go around the yard with what I need, which is awesome. Anyways, guys, I will put a link in the description of this video to Toro's website so you can kind of see what this is all about and how it works. Big shout out to them again for providing this mower to me for review and evaluation at no charge to my channel. I love that type of support, and it definitely helps me create more content for you all. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up. We'll be back to talk to you again very soon.